Water is a bringer of life, and without it we die, and in the future, the world will face an acute water crisis. Before, we used to live in the Renaissance age of water, where water was clean, safe, and cheap. Unfortunately, that cannot be said today. By 2050, the United Nations says more than 5 billion people could be facing water shortages across the globe. Water scarcity is a pressing issue for the world as a whole because without water, it leads to food insecurity and social collapse. An example of the consequences of water scarcity is the Syrian civil war. Syria was the birthplace to one of the oldest civilizations in the world, with a rich artistic and cultural heritage, while concurrently being one of the driest countries in the world. In 2006, Syria experienced one of the worst droughts in its history. It caused the loss of half of Syria's most fertile areas, provoking the failure of 75% of farms and the deaths of 85% of livestock. Food and water insecurities began mounting, forcing 800,000 to 2.5 million people to move up to the northern part of Syria in search for a job and hope. The drought in Syria left the country with acute levels of unemployment and inflation as it was harder to grow crops with less water. Without a source of revenue, tension among the Syrians was rising. With the power of the Islamic State intensifying, the Arab Spring and the drought, Syria was set up for economic collapse. The tragic events of the Syrian civil war left 500,000 dead and 13.5 million displaced. Now let's travel to Israel. Since the Six-Day War in 1967, the West Bank has been under Israeli military occupation, allowing Israel full control over the Jordan River. A policy enacted by the Israeli government prohibited Palestinians from accessing the Jordan River and their own groundwater, due to the fear that Palestinians would overdrill and provoke a water level drop, leading to the penetration of seawater into the aquifer. Palestinians have much more difficulty getting access to drinking water than the Israeli population because they are not able to access the Jordan River, neither access their own groundwater. 30% of the 2.8 million Palestinians receive water less than 3 hours a week, and in isolated areas of Palestine, water is only supplied every 2 weeks. In 2009, Israel experienced a severe drought. The Israeli government, as a result, ramped up funding for desalination plants, and thus, today, 60% of Israel's water comes from desalination plants. Thanks to the construction of many new desalination plants, Israel was able to declare they had won the battle against water scarcity. Now Israel faces an ultimatum: strengthen its power or meet the demands of Palestinians and promote hydro-diplomacy by renegotiating with Palestine over access to the Jordan River, because for the typical Palestinian, 1/3 of their income goes to the purchase of water. Many Palestinians have raised concerns that Israel is monopolizing and taking advantage of the water scarcity in Palestine. Along with the fact that water is so scarce and expensive in the region, the problem is first and foremost a lack of trust and cooperation between the groups. Stopping by in Delhi, India, where almost half of the population don't have access to a reliable source of clean water. Some are so desperate that they have to rely on the water mafia in Delhi. The water mafia drills 100 meters under the ground for groundwater, and currently the groundwater supply is shrinking rapidly. So to recapitulate, why is there a water scarcity? There are a myriad of reasons, the first being climate change, leading to more droughts and erratic weathers, less precipitation and warmer temperatures. Then population growth. Just for the production of food, nearly 200 million litres of water is needed per second, and more people means that number will only increase. Another reason contributing to water scarcity is the exploitation of the river by upstream riparians. The construction of the dams, such as those built by Turkey, leave a dried up river for the downstream riparians. The final reason is that the groundwater that is used to hydrate many cities in Mexico, India, and all over the world are drying up. This is because groundwater is not unlimited and takes millions of years to replenish. This is why it should only be used in times of drought, but people are overusing it. When water runs out, people are left with three options: adaptation, like for the case of Israel, which demands ample resources, move and emigrate, or death. So what are the solutions to the water scarcity problem? To answer this question, I'm going to ask Ms. Valerga, an expert in sustainability for hotels.
Thank you, William, for the opportunity. There are many things that we can do, and the most important is to start saving water in our daily life, and especially all the Western civilizations that we overconsume and we don't respect the water as we have it for granted, because it is important not only to have quantity of water but to have quality water. So we can do simple things to save water in every activity we do daily. Save water while we're brushing our teeth, have showers instead of fill the bath, buy dishwashers and other machines with based on water saving technologies. Use irrigation systems that they consume less water. Reuse the last water from the wastewater treatment plants that we establish for the operation of the hotels, for factories, municipalities. It will be a lot of water that we can earn. Try to collect in the drought areas of Mediterranean, for example, Southern Europe. We can collect the rainwater and in tanks and use it during the drought period. We could improve or reduce reduce the consumption in food. So that means that we must be more aware of the water it is used for the food we consume. It is better to eat, for example, vegetables and poultry than beef, which consumes a lot of water for its production. So there are many things we can do in our daily life or as developing countries to save water, but also we must try not only to save but not pollute the water and the underground water we have. This is a lot of things. We must take care of better management of our waste, and it is a great problem in the Southern Europe that they don't have incineration plants and advanced or recycling infrastructure. So to use landfill and leave all the waste and the variety of our waste, it is a danger. There are many dangerous ones. We don't have simple waste. We throw in the landfills dangerous toxic chemicals, plastics that they not decompose easily, and when they decompose, all the residuals and the leftovers, they are penetrated by the soil, absorbed, and penetrate the underground water tanks, water reserves, and pollute the water. This is another problem. Also, the overuse of water in the tourism sector, agriculture sector from the industry in the coastal areas has another result. The sea level penetrates the underground water and the water quality becomes salty and not suitable for drinking and using. So then we have to apply desalination plants, reverse osmosis in order to make this water drinkable. So the best is to start of how we think about water and to respect the water, and to start from our daily life and daily way of living, and then to go to the implementation of technologies, and there are many technologies nowadays that can save, reuse the water, even the wastewater.